Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the agenda and regular meeting of the Monroe Township Council on this day of April 3rd, 2023. I would like to ask you all to rise for the salute to our flag. I would also ask that you remain standing for a moment of silence for the passing of Councilwoman Elizabeth Betty Schneider. I would also request that my council colleagues and the mayor hold their comments regarding our colleague until the regular meeting council reports. Please, the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please, the one. Thank you all. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilwoman Miriam Cohen.
Present.
Councilman Charles DePiero.
Here.
Councilwoman Rupa P. Siegel.
Here.
Councilman Terrence Van Zura.
Here.
Would you please read the Sunshine Law into the record?
In accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act, it is hereby announced and shall be entered into the minutes of this meeting that adequate notice has been provided by the following.
I will do this.
Go ahead.
Posted on the bulletin boards within the municipal building on December 30th, 2022, and remain posted at that location for public inspection. Printed in the Home News Tribune and the Cranberry Press on December 30th, 2022. Posted on the Monroe Township website and sent to those individuals who have requested personal notice. In accordance with Chapter 3, Section 17 of the Monroe and shall be limited to 5 minutes unless granted by the council. We will move to our next item, which is presentations and proclamations. Our first one is to recognize for 25 years of service with Monroe Township, the director of the Senior Center, Nancy Harrigan, joins us and is tonight the first time you are speaking in your official new position as.
Yes.
So welcome in that role.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Tonight, I am pleased to be here on behalf of myself and my coworkers at the Senior Center to honor Claire for her 25 years of service at the Township of Monroe. Although I haven't had the pleasure of working with Claire for 25 years, at times it definitely felt that way. We are grateful for all of your contributions, your hard work, and your dedication that you have given over the past 25 years. You will be missed by all of us, both professionally and personally. So thank you for your 25 years of service, and congratulations on your retirement. We wish you the very best today and always, for the very best in health and happiness as you move forward in the next chapter of your life. Thank you.
Before we move on, would any of my council colleagues wish to comment? Claire, do you wish to say a word or two? No, you can be very quiet. Okay. So suppose I start with Councilman DePiero.
Sure. Thank you. Just want to say congratulations, Claire, and good luck with your next chapter in life. And we appreciate everything you've done for us in those years, and wish you and your family well and good luck. But thanks again.
Councilwoman Siegel.
Congratulations, Claire, on your 25 years. It's always amazing when you hear 25 years to be somewhere in one place. So we thank you for all that you've done, and I do wish you all the best in your retirement.
Council Vice President Van Zura, please.
Let me join in with everyone else in congratulating you. 25 years is a long time, You're a very dedicated public servant. We very much appreciate all the work that you've done for us. I moved here about 26 years ago, so just about the time, my timing was good. I got here right around when you got here, so started working. So I thank you for all you did during that period of time. I wish you the best.
We here in Monroe, Claire, regularly speak about those institutions and agencies that we believe are jewels in a crown. So I'm sure you've heard reference to the library as a crown jewel, and so is our senior center. I have occasion to be there as a resident. I have occasion to be there with sending my students to do blood pressure screenings and sometimes to do an education program. And it is always a joy. And it is a joy for me to recommend to people that they come to our senior center because it is such a special place to be. It only is because of the people who work there. A building is just four walls. So we thank you. Enjoy your retirement. Nancy, we look forward to seeing you here yet again for happy occasions. So I thank you all very much.
Plaque. Where's that plaque?
Oh, there's the plaque, Mr. Mayor. I almost forgot to introduce you and everything.
It's quite all right. It's an interesting evening, Council President, but no, thank you so much. Claire, my job is easy. I'm just going to ask you to come on up. I'm going to give you this nifty plaque. Claire M. Kelly, in recognition for your outstanding service to the Township of Monroe, wishing you the best on your retirement with much respect and gratitude, Mayor Stephen Delina and the Monroe Township Council, 2023. Congratulations.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And in addition, we have a proclamation, the National Donate Life Month of April 2023. Mr. Mayor, again, please. Mr. and May and Russell Howard.
Thank you, Madam Council President. So this is a story about compassion and love. But there's one more ingredient in this relationship, this marriage of 13 years. And that one ingredient is key. It's sharing. And keep that in mind as I read this proclamation. National Donate Life Month, April 2023. Whereas realizing the urgent need for organ and tissue donors across the country, the National Donate Life Month observance promotes a greater understanding about the life-saving benefits of donation and transplantation. Moreover, the need is increasing. New Jersey Sharing Network is committed to addressing that need through increased awareness, and whereas the transplantation of organs and tissue is a miracle of modern medicine made possible through the compassion of organ and tissue donors, enabling surgeons to save thousands of lives every year. One organ donor can save 8 lives, and one tissue donor can restore health to over 75 others. People of all ages, ethnic backgrounds, and religions are touched by donations and by the serious shortage of organ donors that exist. Currently, there are nearly 4,000 New Jersey residents and 115,000 Americans awaiting life-saving transplant operations. And whereas every capable person should support this vital effort by registering as an organ or tissue donor, making their family aware of their wishes, and being willing to give the precious gift of health and life to people in need. And whereas registering as an organ and tissue donor at a local motor vehicle agency or online signifies our fundamental human responsibility to help others. And whereas as the mayor of Monroe Township, I recognize National Donate Life Month as an opportunity to join New Jersey Sharing Network in its life-saving mission. Now therefore, I, Stephen Delina, proud mayor of Monroe Township, do hereby proclaim April 2023 as Donate Life Month. In the Township of Monroe, I urge all residents to join me in promoting organ and tissue donor education through National Donate Life Month. And with that being said, I'd like to call up Russell and May, because as I mentioned about their relationship and their life together, it's about love and compassion, but because of organ donor sharing and tissue sharing, their 13 years together in love is a testament to what they stand for and what this proclamation stands for. So Russell and May, please come on up.
Thank you.
Yeah. Next is 2020, this is 2023, you drive, you text, you pay, distracted driving crackdown, and that lasts from April 1st through the 30th of the month, 2023. And hopefully anyone who texts and drives will be out of that habit, and we will all be safer. Finishing that, would you like a minute or two to take pictures, folks? We can take a 2-minute break so everyone can take pictures. So will we do that? They told me, of course, in microphones. That's what they told me I need.
Six 42.
Take some pictures, folks, and then we are reconvened, and I understand my microphone is working, or that I'm working my microphone better, one or the other. I'll take either one. We are moving to our ordinances for second reading at the April 3rd, 2023 regular meeting. Would the clerk please read the ordinance?
Certainly. O3-2023-011, ordinance amending Chapter 122 of the Code of the Township of Monroe entitled Vehicles and Traffic, specifically Section 122-30 entitled No Parking.
The streets included in this ordinance will be Buckaloo Avenue, Cranberry Half Acre Road, Cranberry Station Road, Hoffman Station Road, Union Valley - Half Acre Road. Item 7, ordinances for introduction, please.
04-2023-012, ordinance accepting deed of dedication for detention basin, Block 68, Lot 48.12, Shana Court off of Grace Hill Road. 04-2023-013, ordinance to exceed the municipal budget appropriations limits and to establish a cap bank. Please note that 04-2023-014 has been removed from the agenda. 04-2023-015, bond ordinance providing for the acquisition of property for use as open space in and by the Township of Monroe in the County of Middlesex, New Jersey, appropriating $2,440,000, therefore, and authorizing the issuance of $2,323,800 bonds or notes of the township to finance part of the cost thereof. 04-2023-016 is ordinance authorizing the acquisition of Block 75, Lot 15, on the official tax map of the Township of Monroe, more commonly known as 405 Spotswood Gravel Hill Road.
Item 8 is resolutions for consideration under our consent agenda at the regular meeting, and that's R4 2023-116 through R4 2023-126. I'm presuming the council has all reviewed those resolutions. If there are any resolutions which you wish removed, please so notify the clerk now.
I have 2.
Only two.
Only 2.
Okay, okay.
It's R-4-2023-118, R4-2023-122. Thank you.
You're welcome. We will move to the public comment section. They are limited to the agenda items only. Each speaker has 5 minutes. I'm requesting a motion to open public comment section, please.
Motion.
Thank you. Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Nay. Anyone wishing to address the council, please come forward. Your name and address for our record. Which one of you is deciding to go first tonight, gentlemen? That's why the woman up front probably beat both of you. Let's go.
So
It's all right. Sit down. Tell us your name and address. And
I am Joellen Arabito. I live at 22-0 Rossmore Drive, Monroe. And I'm not sure if I'm allowed to ask the question since I didn't hear any mention of it. But the resolution to purchase new vehicles.
is it on this agenda? Yes. Yes, please.
Okay.
It was mentioned as the resolutions were grouped by their numbers completely.
Okay.
So go ahead.
So my first obvious question is, why are we purchasing new vehicles? How many do we have at this time? Are any of them being shared? How many miles do we have on these vehicles that are being replaced? Anybody?
Well, it's not anybody. I would like to direct that question to our business administrator, Mr. Weinberg, please.
Thank you very much, Council President. On item related to the 20-person passenger bus, that is replacing bus number 89, which is a 2011 Ford 20-passenger bus, and it has close to 200,000 miles on it, so it's really quite unreliable at this point. And the other item is for a regular charger through our police department. We had one new charger. We have a fairly significant fleet within the police department. I can certainly look up the number. I don't have it in front of me of how many miles, but because the police basically drive around all day, those numbers get quite high quite fast. So every year we usually do at least probably 4 to 5 vehicles for the police department in order to keep the police fleet reliable. Council President.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
You're most welcome. Dr. Perron?
Good evening, everyone. Prakash Parab, 33 Dana Drive.
Yes, Dr.
With respect to open space, always I'm in support of it. we are going to acquire a property of about 2.4 million or something. I'd like to know how many acres and what property it is. It is not explained in the ordinance. I didn't see the main page, so sorry. for
Mr.
that.
Weinberg, it's your turn again.
10 acres and it's Garvey's.
Oh, sorry. 10 acres.
10 acres and it's Garvey's.
Acres and,
Garvey's?
Garvey's property.
so how much the property cost? So it is a building there?
Correct.
Okay.
There's a restaurant there and it's 10 additional acres, correct.
So are we planning to keep the restaurant and the building, or what is the plan?
I guess-
Because
I-
it
I
is going to
think-
be
go ahead, I
open
think-
space.
Sure, if I could. Yeah, so the plan for the property would be to demolish the restaurant and preserve it as open space. Whether there's a recreation or passive recreation component to it would be yet to be determined, Council President.
Oh, okay, so in
Thank you.
future, so in future, we are going to build something there, that's
We
the
are
plan.
maintaining it as for open space.
Okay, 10 acres open space for 2.5 million is, so unless and until, I leave it to council, we'll use it properly, okay? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else wishing to address the council now? Sir, you almost got hit by her screen. Look, Ira. Your name and address for our record, please.
How you doing? Adam Durando, 66 Avenue G, Monroe.
Yes.
So going back to the Garvey's property, I checked, that's a commercial, zoned commercial.
Yes.
So that property generates 35,000 in taxes a year, right? And a bond on that's going to cost how much a year?
Mr. Weinberg.
Sure, so if we bonded, we would be bonding out for approximately $2.3 million. Depends on the interest rates that we ultimately secure after we permanently finance. Yep, so that's the answer I have.
So it's about 20 years at 3%?
Land is 30 years.
Land use is
30
usually
years.
more, it's based on the bond law. It's not up to us. It's based on the bond law by the state of New Jersey.
So I'm for open space, but taking commercial property, that's an income generating property, if it was sold again, you'd have commercial, you'd have at least a $35,000 income. And now I did the numbers at 3% over 20 years, but that's $150K a year. So that swing is right now we're making $35,000 off of that property, and most of that goes to the school board. But now we're going to be in a $188,000 debt a year for commercial property. I'm just wondering if that property is the ideal for open space, since it is commercial property.
I guess
I can answer that, Lou.
He
Go
can
ahead.
answer it. Go ahead.
So
Mr.
as you know, as part of the round 3 of affordable housing, and you see the different affordable housing, which is court ordered by the state in each and every town, the underlying zoning doesn't matter at that point. So as you know, on Route 33, we had highway development out there, but the underlying zoning was highway development, but it became residential. So this would be an ideal property potentially for a round 4 of affordable housing, regardless of what its underlying value would be, and it could potentially become high-density housing.
Right, and if you do that math, then it's the...
Folks, please,
it's the
would you
opposite.
just let-
Then it's the
Thank you.
opposite.
So how many affordable housing units do we have built now?
Mr. Weinberg, please.
Right. So there are 3 rounds of affordable housing. The first round happened basically in the 1970s and 80s, and I don't want to take up too much of your time. The second round was at the turn of the century in the year 2000. That finished up with Monroe Manor and Stratford as part of round 2, which was a 1997 approval. And then the 2015 court order is the round 3, and that's what you see on Route 33 in Mounts Mills. And that is round 3. And then round 4 is what the court will look to move to in the next couple of years. And developers will be able to come forward with any parcel that they have and intervene in that case potentially.
Okay.
Okay.
And just one final thing on vehicles, seems to be a hot topic right now. And I drove around the municipal building and the borough yard, and it's full of Explorers, right? So that's a 7-passenger vehicle. Are we using them as like buses, or is there a reason why we're purchasing as a fleet vehicle Explorers over like Ford Escapes as a fleet vehicle? Their base price is $11,000 less per vehicle, and they get 6 miles per gallon better They're all-wheel drive, they're everything like that. Are we contractually obligated to an Explorer?
Mr. Weinberg, please.
So we're not contractually obligated. Some of our different programs, whether it be parks and recreation or construction, do go on and off complicated sites. They're not just always in a parking lot. And certainly most of our Explorers and that type of SUV are in the police department, which sometimes also go off-road as well.
Well, police Explorers are a different story. But an all-wheel drive Explorer is the same as an all-wheel drive Escape. I drive fleet vehicles and I've done site visits. There's no real difference between the two. So I'm just wondering if we could start looking at being a little more responsible and looking at vehicles that fit the need, that aren't considered 7-passenger vehicles. That's all.
Please finish your answer. He's running out of time, and
Welcome to his comment.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Oh, look at that. I was right. Mr. Gunkelman, you're last this evening. You were walking slower. Oh, well, okay. You will not lose your time.
George Gunkelman, 5 Keller Court, Monroe. Not meaning to beat up on it, but going back to the open space question and the Garvey thing, I'm confused about a couple of things here. One, I thought that we had, quite a number of years ago, voted for a certain percentage of our taxes to go to the open space budget. And I knew at one point that was rolled back to be a smaller percentage than it was originally passed by the voters. I'd like to know what's in that fund, because this would appear that there's nothing in the fund that we've got to get new money for it. What am I misunderstanding here about the allocation of funds? Also, it's not clear if the allocation is the same as the bond. Is that one item, or are they two separate items? So what is the estimated purchase price of this property that we're talking about here? Is it 2.4 or is it 5? It's not clear to me.
Mr. Weinberg.
Happy to answer the questions.
Thank you.
So we do have an open space trust fund, and obviously we utilize that fund to purchase open space. We were able to leverage our existing dollars by at times bonding for land. If we had to do pay as you go, much of the land that we would have been able to buy, we would not have been able to buy, because you're leveraging and people are contributing to that over the course of the year. Over the years, we currently have $1.2 million in that fund. We currently bring in approximately $1.2 million into that fund. We currently use about $800,000 of that towards debt service. So sometimes we do some pay-go because there's a little bit of room there. But if we did everything pay-go, we wouldn't be able to buy or really do much of anything. And pay-go, I mean pay as you go. So a lot of times, like for example, for roads and bridges, you do bond over the life of 20 or 30 years. They do that with schools and buildings, because it's not just that you can leverage that money, but you can also make sure that the people are benefiting from it pay as well, not just one person paying today for the benefit of a bridge for 40 years. So it does allow you to leverage a little bit more resources, and that's what we do, and that's what almost every town does with an open space trust fund. With regard to the amount, it's $2.3 million is the purchase price. Whenever you do a bond ordinance that's not either a DOT capital ordinance, you have to put 5% down. So in this case, that number and difference there is 5%. We are putting 5% down as cash as part of the bond law, and then finance the additional $95,000. So the purchase price is 2.3. The down payment is approximately $116,200, which we pay out of that $1.2 million that I said we had at the end of last year, and then we move forward from there, Council President.
You okay?
The second part of my question is, I'm a little bit confused also. I thought once we purchased something with open space, it was as open space in perpetuity, as opposed to being available at a later date for affordable housing.
No, yeah, and you're exactly correct. The reason that we purchase it for open space is because we protect it from being affordable housing. That's the point that Mr. Weinberg was trying to make, which is that if we didn't buy it, It
I
could
We-
be-
we could-
I thought it was being held in
No,
abeyance.
no.
It would be held for open space.
I apologize there.
Okay, my mistake. Thank you.
Thank you. I understand you wish to be next, yes.
Lucio Panos, excuse me, 1208 C. Lindera Plaza. First, I'd like to express my condolences on the passing of Councilwoman Schneider. It's a loss to, as your colleague, but also to the township because she tried to the best of her ability. Please don't
Thank you.
include that in my 5 minutes. All right. 015, this whole Garvey thing. That man was right. We are losing ratables, but on the other side, we want open space. So why couldn't you subdivide some of that 10 acres and put some here, keep some ratables? I think that would be a good compromise. 23117, please explain that to the public. 23122, it's $57,631 of a maintenance guarantee. What percentage of the original bond is that? 23124. Hello?
I'm
this bus
looking down to
electric?
check your number, excuse me.
Is this bus electric on 124? I mean, you know what?
Oh, I thought you were calling out with my,
No, I was just being nasty.
okay.
I'm sorry. But you know what? Here, there's a big push for electric. I personally like my husband's Mustang, and I hope it never goes electric. However, the government is encouraging and at times pushing that we get electric vehicles. And I think this township is being hypocritical by not. So why are you purchasing vehicles that are not electric? So those are my questions. Council President, I hope you got them all.
I think you got them all in, right? We're good. Yes, Mr. Weinberg.
Yes, on item 117, this is a rehabilitation affordable housing agreement as part of our settlement for affordable housing. We did the maximum number of units that we can rehab, which is usually up to about $70,000 if someone is income qualified. We help them meet the code standards on a sort of dilapidated house to be able to stay inside, or I shouldn't say dilapidated, but not up to code house, to allow them to stay inside the community and be able to do that. And we've done many of those. We've probably done about 30 or 40 of those. Very positive. That funding comes from fees paid under development, so it doesn't come from taxpayers. The law is that after 10 years of being in the house, we do release the lien per the agreement and the statute. And so this is one, and we do these every month, where we release the lien after 10 years.
Council President, he skipped over 23015, which, by the way, that's Garvey's, and it has a liquor license. What happens to that liquor license?
We're not buying the liquor license.
So, but my question is, what happens to it?
They'd be free to sell it on the open market.
Okay, but meanwhile, to go back about the subdivision, if he may.
Yeah, I don't really have an answer on the subdivision process for.
Or the possibility of considering it. Keep some commercial ratables, and then divide up the other 10 acres somewhere.
It is possible to potentially leave it as commercial and let it be developed as housing, as I mentioned.
No. Don't play that. Don't dance like that. You're buying it for open space. Rah, rah, very good for you. I think that's a good idea. However, you're also giving up commercial space, which is not such a good idea. So why couldn't you come up with a compromise? You have 10 acres and a nice piece of property, commercial. What's the rush? Why has that been explored?
I am not aware that we have looked at that as such. We were involved in the initial stages of this.
Before we get into hop for over $2 million bond, why don't you table this and consider that? Thank you.
You're welcome.
Leave it as housing. Yeah. Okay.
Yes, did we?
Can I keep going through the list?
Yes, you can.
122 is S&G paving. Mark can probably look up on his dais. We go from a performance bond to a maintenance bond. This is a $600,000 grant that we got from the state for pavement preservation for Costco Drive. The job is complete, as with all construction jobs. After a certain period of time, after the township engineer has said that the work has been complete, It eventually goes into a maintenance bond for approximately 15% of the original bond, and then we hold on to that for 2 years just to make sure everything goes well, and then we ultimately release the bond per the state statute.
So is that 15%? That was my question. There was
That is
another
15%.
There was another ordinance after this, and it specifically said 15%. This one did not. That's why I questioned it.
Okay.
Consistency is good. It would be better, and I wouldn't be here. And last but not least, why are you being hypocritical about not getting electrical cars?
Would you please take the
This
moment?
is a 20-passenger bus. We had a actually really hard time getting a 20-passenger bus in general. So one of the challenges now is, and you'll see this going forward, police vehicles, ambulance vehicles, regular vehicles, electric vehicles are almost impossible. 20-passenger buses, ambulances now are taking about a 20 to 24-month lead time when we purchase them, and police vehicles are very hard to find. We're able to go out to bid and successfully get this one, which we believe that we'll get in 3 or 4 months. I'm not aware of available or cost-effective 20-passenger buses that I've seen other municipalities buy that are electric. I know that New Jersey Transit with some federal subsidies is moving into that, but I haven't seen municipalities move into electric buses or any available. Council
Well, let's
President.
be a leader and not a follower. Go for the electric. You know, you see the other towns doing it, you see the state doing it. Well, why not? Last month you purchased 2 cars. You didn't even know if you were getting 6-cylinder or 8-cylinder. I mean, come on, people. You know, I'm getting a next generation. I'm going to be a grandmother for the first time.
Congratulations.
And I want the future for my grandchild.
We all do.
And children. So let's go with electric vehicles as a leader. I personally might not want one, but this township spends a lot of money on gas. I'd like to know next time, how much is the annual gas bill for this town?
Sure.
Thank you.
That certainly can be made available. I thank you for your comments. Does anyone else wish to address us at this point? Seeing and hearing none, I'd like to ask for a motion to close the public comment section, please.
Motion.
Thank you. May I have a second on that?
Second.
Thank you. All in favor? Any opposed? Nay. Public comment section is closed. I'd like motion to adjourn the agenda meeting, please.
Motion.
Thank you. Second on that.
Second.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Councilman DePiero?
Yes.
Councilwoman Siegel?
Yes.
Council Vice President Van Zura?
Yes.
Council President Cohen?
Yes, agenda meeting is adjourned. We will reconvene for the regular meeting of the town.
7:07 p.m.
7:07 p.m. The regular meeting is now called to order. May I have a motion, please?
Motion.
Thank you. Second.
Second.
Good. Roll call.
Councilman DePiero?
Yes.
Councilwoman Siegel?
Yes.
Council Vice President Van Zura?
Yes.
Council President Cohen?
Yes, may I have a motion to approve the payment of claims per the run date of March 29th, 2023, please?
Motion.
So moved.
Thank you. Second on that.
Second.
Thank you. Again, roll call appreciated at all times.
Councilman-
Roll call.
Councilman DePiero?
Yes.
Councilwoman Siegel?
Yes.
Council Vice President Van Zura?
Yes.
Council President Cohen?
Yes. Motion to approve the minutes of the following meetings is written and presented. September 7th, 2022, executive session. March 6th, 2023, agenda and regular combined meeting. Motion, please. Is everyone paying attention here? Motion.
So moved.
Thank you. Second on that, please.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilman DePiero?
Yes.
Councilwoman Siegel?
Yes.
Council Vice President Van Zura?
Yes.
Council President Cohen?
Yes. Item 4 is the ordinance for second reading, 03-2023-011. It's an ordinance amending Chapter 122 of the Code of the Township of Monroe, entitled Vehicles and Traffic, specifically Section 122-30, entitled No Parking. And that refers to, is noted in the agenda session, Buckaloo Avenue, Cranberry Half Acre Road, Cranberry Station Road, Huffman Station Road, Union Valley Half Acre Road. I'd like to open a public hearing on this. May I have a motion?
Motion. Moved.
Thank you. Second.
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? No. May I, anyone wishing to address us regarding this ordinance, please come forward now. Seeing and hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to close the public hearing. Motion, please. Thank you. Second.
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? No. May I have a motion to adopt ordinance 03-2023-011? Motion, please.
Motion.
Second.
Second. Roll call, please.
Councilman DePiero?
Yes.
Councilwoman Siegel?
Yes.
Council Vice President Van Zura?
Yes.
Council President Cohen?
Yes. Item 5, ordinances for introduction. 04-2023-012 is an ordinance accepting deed of dedication for detention basin, Block 68, Lot 48.12, Shana Court off Grace Hill Road. Motion, please.
Motion.
Thank you. A second.
Second.
Thank you. A roll call.
Councilman DePiero?
Yes.
Councilwoman Siegel?
Yes.
Council Vice President Van Zura?
Yes.
Council President Cohen?
Yes. 04-2023-013, ordinance to exceed the municipal budget appropriation limits and to establish a cap bank. Motion.
Motion.
Second.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilman DePiero?
Yes.
Councilwoman Siegel?
Yes.
Council Vice President Van Zura?
Yes.
Council President Cohen?
As noted in the agenda sessions.
Vote, please.
Oh, vote. Right.
What was your vote for the
Yes.
last? Yes.
As noted in the agenda session, 04-2023-014 was removed. 04-2023-015, bond ordinance providing for the acquisition of property for use as open space in and by the Township of Monroe in the County of Middlesex, New Jersey, appropriating $2,440,000 therefore and authorizing the issuance of
$2,323,000.
$2,323,800 dollars of bonds or notes of the township to enhance part of the cost thereof. May I have a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Second.
May I have a roll call, please?
Councilman DePiero?
Yes.
Councilwoman Siegel?
Yes.
Council Vice President Van Zura?
Yes.
Council President Cohen?
Yes. 04-2023-016, ordinance authorizing the acquisition of Block 75, Lot 15 on the official tax map of the Township of Monroe, more commonly known as 405 Spotswood Gravel Hill Road. Motion, please.
So moved.
Thank you. Second.
Second.
Thank you. Roll call.
Councilman DePiero?
Yes.
Councilwoman Siegel?
Yes.
Council Vice President Van Zura?
Yes.
Council President Cohen?
Yes. Item 6 is resolutions for consideration under the consent agenda, R4 2023-16 through R4 2023-126.
With the exception of R4-2023, 118, and 122.
Thank you. May I have a motion, please?
Motion.
Second. Thank you,
Second,
Mr.
yeah.
Van Zura. May we have a roll call on that?
Councilman DePiero?
Yes.
Councilwoman Siegel?
Yes.
Council Vice President Van Zura?
Yes.
Council President Cohen?
Yes. Heard my vote, right?
Yes, I heard
Oh,
it.
I'm good now.
Yeah.
Okay. Resolutions removed from the consent agenda for consideration. Motion, please.
Motion.
Second.
Thank you. Second. Thank you for that second. Roll call.
Councilman DePiero?
Abstain.
Councilwoman Siegel?
Yes.
Council Vice President Van Zura?
Yes.
Council President Cohen?
Yes. Motion passes. We will move to our administrator's report. Please, Mr. Weinberg.
Yes. Thank you very much, Council President.
You're most welcome.
It's hard to be the first person to talk about Councilwoman Betty Schneider, and I'll try and be brief. As you know, many of you know, she passed away today, so this is all somewhat sudden for all of us. Councilwoman Schneider had many great attributes. She was incredibly smart, very quick with wit, a great sense of humor, very astute at understanding people in the community, a terrific public servant, but most importantly, a deeply caring and compassionate person. I will greatly miss her and will take all the lessons I learned from her forward throughout my life and my career. My deepest sympathies to her and her family on this tragic loss.
Thank you. Our engineer, Mr. Asimov, please.
Thank you, Council President. I will miss Councilwoman Betty Schneider. I was fortunate enough to have worked with her not only on the council, but on the zoning board prior to her becoming a councilwoman. My condolences to her family.
Thank you very much. We will begin our council reports, and I would like to speak first with the consent of my colleagues. Betty was my friend. And she was the very first person to welcome me to the council. And she came over and told me her name and asked how I was feeling about this new role I had. And we did indeed become very close friends. Her work ethic is one we all know. There was never a function in our town where the councilwoman did not show up. And I see some people who were at those events as well smiling. She always wore her name badge and would regularly nag me because I would forget mine. And I had every intention of putting it on this evening, and somehow it didn't make it out of my car. But I promised to do better. She was an example for all of us of the importance of a commitment to public service, commitment to what she believed, and someone who could tell a hell of a good joke. And I always admired her quick wit, and I, of course, always admired her intelligence, and I admired her commitment to the work of this council, remembering that she served on a school board for 19 years, and every once in a while, you would see that shoulder snap, and she would toss one off at what she thought people were not doing so correctly or so well. She was loved and cared about by all of us. And I extend my condolences to her daughter Anne Marie, to her son-in-law John, to her son Jimmy, whom she could never bring herself to call Jim, because then she thought she was talking to her husband, and to his wife Susan, and her grandchildren whom she adored. So we miss you, Betty, and we'll learn from you and continue to do our best as well. Rupa, would like to ask Councilwoman Siegel, please.
So first, deepest condolences to Betty's family. I'm the newest member here, but I am so honored to have known Betty. I met her many years ago through her work, through human relations, where she made an impact on my children. They had the opportunity to work with her, and the first time my older son met Betty, he's like, "Oh, you have to meet the councilwoman, Mom. She's pretty amazing." Betty is amazing. She's strong and feisty. I've been so fortunate to have her as my mentor in my council role. Anytime I have a question or I need something, Betty is always there for me. My first couple of prep meetings, she reached out to me, "Or you want to go get coffee? I can explain things a little more to you." So she's just always there. She fought for everyone, everything, any living creature. She was there. Open space was something very big and close and dear to her heart. In the short 2 years, or almost not even 2 years, year and a half that I've been on the council, she's just been there for me. I will miss all my conversations with her about life and family and the roles that we chose, being home with our children. We've just had such amazing conversations, and funny part, Betty and I love shoes and we love purses, so we talk about all these things. And the other thing Betty and I always do is we like to be early everywhere, at least 15, 20 minutes, so it works really well for us. Every conversation I have with Betty ends with, "Your hubby's a keeper," hugs and love to the boys, "How's Ziggy? I swear that bow wow," poses for pictures, and she'll end with, "What events am I going to see you at this week?" So rest in peace, my friend Betty. You have left your mark on our community and all of our hearts. You will be so missed.
Councilman DePiero, please.
As we all have our memories of what I would call a leader in our township for and dedication, her loyalty to her community and to our colleagues. As we all feel the pain when we received the call where it's hard to believe when something like this happens, and you know, I have so many memories of going to Eagle Scouts with her, and she really shined, and she really enjoyed doing that, and it's dear to her heart, and we all heard all the stories about time and time again, but that's something that I will never forget. As sitting next to her, and I thought about it all day long, and it's very difficult to see a loved one leave us, and my condolences to her family, her friends, and all of us that had an opportunity to meet such a fine example for the community, to sit up here, it's not easy. We take an everyday oath to give the best shot that we can, but sometimes we make decisions that people don't like. But you got to understand that I listened to her, as everybody said. She was smart, she was intelligent, she was dedicated, and she was loyal to all of us. And without politics, it's very difficult. But in reality, we're a family, we're a team, and we're all feeling the pain. But we all want to treasure her memories, because whoever's going to sit in the seat next is big shoes to fill. And you just better understand that it's not easy, but she loved it, and I know she liked her going out to eat and everything, and her birthday was coming up, in June. But I got to tell you, it's something that I won't forget, and my family's condolences to her family, and I have a couple comments, but I can't go any further. I just want to say I'm sorry, and our condolences, my family, to Betty's family.
Councilman Van Zuren.
Thank you, Madam President. After hearing everyone else, some of the things I say may seem a little bit repetitive, but I'll say this. When I was first appointed to the council back in 2021, I needed to run for re-election that year to fill the unexpired term. And Betty was also running that year. So we had many times when we got together, campaign together, go to people's homes and houses and talk about our plans. And I always referred to Betty as the Ruth Bader Ginsburg of Monroe Township. And I looked at her that way. Here was a woman, despite her advanced age, she rarely missed an event, as they told you. She was sharp as a tack until the very end, and she was a good person. And I think that was the most important thing. She served on the North Brunswick Board of Ed, 20 years before coming here. She served our town for over 9 years. And she also served on the planning board, all these other committees in town too. Just to say it in short, she fits the definition of a true public servant. We were very lucky to have her. We miss her. I wish her family the best.
Thank you. Mr. Mayor, some comments, please. You knew her longer than
Okie dokie. Before I talk a little bit about Betty, I do want to mention community also lost recently a gentleman steeped in government tradition. On both sides of the aisle, Mr. Ray Reddington of the Rossmore community passed away. Currently was an active member here in Monroe, but throughout the state, involved in Republican events, Democrats as well. So he had the spectrum, a true vision of, I guess, a service to the community. Here in Monroe Township, he was a valued member of the Economic Development Committee. I do just that you ask that you just keep his family in your prayers. It's my understanding that there potentially will be a service for him in the fall. We'll certainly keep you posted. Betty. So it's like Cher. It's like Madonna. It's just a one name, right? We all know Betty. No, prefix or suffix or title. It's Betty. I think it's very obvious, that the council and administration has lost a teammate and a family member. But even on a greater level, Monroe has lost an advocate, a dedicated public servant, but more importantly, a true, deep, caring representative, something so pure. Something that you strive to be as an elected, official. It's tough. It is tough. Councilman DePiero mentioned about sitting in that chair there. It's tough. It is tough. But Betty made it easy because Betty had that heart. that caring heart. And yeah, oh yeah, she could lash out at you. I think we all experienced some at one point or another, Betty giving you the business, and she could give you the business for sure. But, it was that caring heart that you knew if she was giving you the business, you probably deserved it. So you just said, yes, ma'am. We've waxed poetic about, her ties to the community and all that she did prior to coming to Monroe and all that she came here to be. And in 2014, she was elected on the council and never stopped. And again, I just think it was just awe-inspiring. She never stopped. She earned the moniker of the Ambassador of Monroe because she was everywhere. Her presence was everywhere. That caring spirit was everywhere. She never stopped. Heck, her house was destroyed in a flood. She never stopped. And I do have to say that she was probably one of the smartest persons I ever got to spend time with. And I can say that because she nominated me to be mayor when the mayor passed away. So obviously a very smart woman. Got to have a little humor. But she was just a genuine, true representative of the people. She was a genuine friend, but more importantly, just a genuine person. So I do want to just thank those who have reached out with condolences, but especially I want to highlight, I've received calls and messages, but in particular I want to highlight Mayor Slavacek from Helmeta, who had a little special love relationship with Betty as well. So I do have to just highlight him. But it's been a tough day. It's been a distracting day. It's a day of sadness for sure. So let's keep Betty's family in our prayers during this period of grief. And let's keep Betty, the thoughts of Betty, and that caring spirit in our hearts and our minds. Rest in peace, Ambassador Schneider. With that being said, with the beautiful holiday season coming upon us for those, happy Passover and a happy Easter. Rest in peace, Betty Schneider.
Thank you. Going to ask for public comments now. I need a motion to open the public comment portion. Motion. Thank you. May I have a second on that motion?
Second.
Hi, good. All in favor? Any opposed? Nay. Public comment section is open, limited to the agenda, to the items that were contained in the meeting. If you wish to...
No, anything.
Anything, sorry, definitely. Any item of interest to you, would you, yes, please, your name and address for our record.
Michelle Arminio, 9 Nathaniel Street, and condolences to the council for the loss of your colleague, to the community, and of course to the family. I do have some questions, unfortunately, that I do need answered.
Please ask them.
Tonight's meeting. The block and lot for ordinance 042023-015, please.
Alan, do you have that block and lot?
Right, so that would be the block and lot for ordinance 16, so right below there.
I'm sorry, say that again.
That would be the block and lot. It's tied to this following ordinance on number 16.
Oh, okay.
So it's 75 lot 15.
That was my next question. They go together?
They do.
And is that the, now it says it's coming from the Open Space Fund. Is this the one?
That's correct.
No.
Yes.
It is?
That's correct. Yes.
That's correct. It says for use as open space.
Okay, there it is.
14.
So is this the closed care facility on Gravel Hill Road?
No.
No, this is something else. Where is this?
This is Garvey's, the 10-acre lot that Garvey's sits
We're
on.
buying Garvey's?
Correct. That's where that is. Yes.
And that's going to be passive open space? What kind is municipal use? What is that?
So if we're using open space funds, it wouldn't be just general.
Use your mic so everybody
Excuse
can
me.
hear us.
I'm sorry. If because we're using open space funds, it wouldn't be general municipal use, it would be open space or recreation.
Okay, well, finally, we get some open space. But wow, that's been, and we're buying that for 2,000, because that's been on the market for decades almost. So I hope we got a good deal on it.
As Mr. Weinberg nods his head, believe we've done
We
our
think
best.
so.
We
You
think
think
so.
so? Okay. Next, all right, so that was my question there. The affordable housing, I'm not going to really talk about that resolution, but that reminded me that a few meetings ago, I had asked a question about how and who was chosen for the affordable housing residents, and you said you might provide some information. You
Well,
might have forgotten, but...
Well, I think the way I answered the question was we have an administrator, it's Piazza and Associates, and they administer those pursuant to the COA regulations. Even though COA doesn't exist, their procedural regulations continue on. So there is a process for when there are openings for how they are, specifically how they're advertised, and
Yes.
how the selections are made.
And you
correct?
mentioned that the first time, but the more detailed question was, it's a lottery. And we were asking, and I had mentioned that I had asked that at an affordable housing unit meeting,
Mhm.
and the question again was not answered. For example, if I apply for that lottery on one day, and someone applied for it 5 years before, it is possible that the person who most recently applied for it could get it based on a lottery thing. And I think you were going to confirm that.
And I don't think that's the case, but I will have Mr. Piazza answer that
I know, that's what-
question, and
okay.
I will email it to you. I apologize for not getting it to you.
Okay,
sooner.
because I think that's important for the public
Sure
to
it is.
know.
Sure. It is.
And let's see. I don't know if I have anything else, since those are sort of pretty pertinent issues. And, the ordinance passed, and I should have gotten up to speak on that, my mistake. The ordinance passed regarding the parking. Cranberry Half Acre Road, is that near the Costco? Is that what that ordinance is?
Someone help me.
No?
Storm, because that's, stop the truck.
And Mark can jump in if he was. This would be Cranberry Half Acre Road would be, and it gets very confusing with Union Valley Half Acre and Cranberry Half Acre. But I believe this would be Cranberry Half Acre coming off of Union Valley Half Acre as you're heading, I guess that would be south, and you turn onto Cranberry Half Acre and you go behind and between Clearbrook and Encore, correct, Mark? And that would be the Cranberry Half Acre up and
Correct.
through the traffic light.
That's correct, up to the municipal border.
Yeah, well, I'm sorry, all the way up to the municipal border.
All right, and I think that's it. I thank you all very much, and again.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else wishing to address us, please come forward. Sir? Your name and address for our records, please. No, this gentleman's next, and then, of course, we will get everyone. Sir, please. sit
Hey,
down.
how you doing? My name's James Foy, F-O-Y-E, 431 Hoffman Station Road, Monroe Township. I've been sorry for your friend, your councilwoman. She was very nice. We went through a lot. We got flooded out together, and that's why I'm here. I helped the township out with a court case for almost 2 years now, and this is directed towards Lou. I called his office to talk to the prosecutor that took over the case. After the prosecutor that was handling the case, I don't know what happened to him. He either quit his job, got another job. I don't know. Hopefully he's not sick. But his prosecutor was named Vic Avanti, and Michael Burns took over it. The case was Zanoon against the Township of Monroe. And we were involved. I sat in this courtroom with Judge Boyd and Judge Lombardi for probably 14, 15 hours. It was worse than a murder trial. And myself, my wife, my neighbors, the people in the back of the person that destroyed township property and then flooded out private property. We were involved up until the point that we were supposed to be involved in the sentencing. He was basically playing lawyer himself and got in over his head and got another attorney and then pled guilty And I got a phone call from the prosecutor, Michael Burns, saying that he pled guilty and that the sentencing was going to happen and we were going to be involved because we're victims. And we've been involved in the court case the whole time. And it's very hard to have a neighbor destroy your property and take over township property and destroy it. And you said you were going to go after him for money for the township's time and effort to fix the problem. And now I got the court finalized, and he got zero billed for everything.
Can I ask you, is your
That's the
question?
municipal court, right?
Excuse me?
That's the municipal court, correct?
Yes. And you told people during these meetings that
That's
it
just the
was in the
municipal
court. It was in the court
That's
case.
just the municipal, well, the municipal court isn't where we would go to get our money back. So Alan, I don't know if you want to
This was on you.
No.
This is not Alan.
Yeah,
This
except
is
that
on you.
Once again, the administration ultimately is the one that.
Because,
that
no.
negotiates.
What I'm saying is,
You-
no. What I'm saying.
No,
hang on a
what
sec-
I'm saying is that you have to let me answer your question if
Sure.
you're going to ask me a question. The answer is that you don't go into municipal court to get money damages from somebody. All
I
the
understand.
municipal court does is fine one way or the other, and that's not what it is.
But
That's
now
not
this,
the mechanism.
now all this time
I
of
believe
waste.
there's a separate settlement agreement.
Is there?
I believe that there is.
Kev, I don't know if you want
Kevin?
Yeah, Kevin may even have it with.
Well, we were actually shunned out of it. For what reason, I have no idea.
But I'll let
We'll let
Kevin
Kevin
McGowan, who represented
But
the
no,
administration.
here's my thing. Because we were shunned out of it.
Right.
I had to go to Oprah.
You're not a party to it. You're not a party in the
I-
municipal court.
Okay.
It's the state
Then
and the
if-
defendant.
The only
And
reason
the
why
both.
the only reason why you had a case was because of myself and my neighbors, and
But-
taking
but
and
you're not a party
documenting
there.
and
Go ahead,
documenting.
Kevin, you wanted to
Why
explain
don't you
what
let
happened in the
Kevin
settlement?
explain what happened, please?
So my understanding is there was a settlement in the municipal court that allowed Mr. Zanoon to plead guilty. That's the township violation ended in that respect. As I think Mr. Raynon has explained to you, the municipal court is not a venue for property owners to take
I'm not
civil
looking-
action against
I'm not
each
looking-
other.
I wasn't looking for the money.
Okay.
I am not looking for money.
Okay.
What I am looking for is because what they said is that now person like not myself, but my next door neighbor has $30,000 worth of damage. This case is like null and void, basically. That was basically what was said to us.
Settlement.
There was a settlement and he pled guilty to
Oh.
a township violation. I
you
can't
make
speak
a
to it.
over-
So,
request,
no,
we'll
hang
send
on
it to you.
hang on a second. My pool got destroyed because of this, and and we don't know if what the town did corrected the problem, and that's my problem here. Okay, so this is why I wanted to help the town make a settlement, find out who was basically guilty. Hang on, that the problem was fixed right, and I'm not blaming Mark because Mark had the guys come out and do it, but what happens in my case, the next time this happens, now I have to come after the town because it's township property that was destroyed by a private property owner, destroyed the swale, and then they tried to correct the swale. But what happens if my pool gets wiped out again? It's a $65,000 pool. Do I have to come after the town and sue you? That's not what I want to do.
Well,
That was the whole case of the
I'm
point
not
of the
going to give
matter.
you legal advice, but if you make a request to the clerk, I'll give her this settlement agreement and we'll get it to you. So you can see what it is.
But this is why I wanted to bring it up to the council, because this was supposed to be basically a municipal matter, and then all of a sudden, everything got sealed, and nobody was allowed to hear anything.
Nothing's sealed. Once again, if there's a settlement agreement, we'll get you the
The settlement agreement's right here. It's
That's not the
$0
settlement-
amount.
That's not the settlement agreement. That's the court judgment. That's what that is. I mean, my eyes aren't great, but I'm pretty sure that
No,
what you're holding
my
up
eyes-
is what there is from the court. Well, I don't have it in front of me, but you do. But that's not the settlement agreement, because it wouldn't be under the court stationery. So if there's an agreement, we'll get it to you.
Okay. I would like to have it, please, because
Then you
my
will get
neighbor,
that.
myself,
Happy
and
to
the
do it.
person's property that got destroyed.
We-
Happy to do it.
Not a problem to do, sir.
But this is why I wanted to tell, also, I wanted to document it on the thing that I brought it up again to
It
tell you.
is so
the council.
documented. It
And
is so
I'm very
documented.
sorry for your loss.
But
She
that's
was
a
very
separate,
nice.
yes, she was.
She got wiped out, I got wiped out, it was the same time.
No.
So thank you very kindly.
Thank you very much for coming this evening. Anyone else, yes, wish to address me? This gentleman who's in front of you, because he hasn't had the opportunity to speak at all. Come, sir. Your name and address for our records, please.
Frank Steinhauser, 19 Oliver Street.
Yes, Mr.
Sorry
Steinhauser.
for Ms. Snyder's loss. She was a nice lady.
She was.
And very compassionate for her, for the
She
town
was.
and everything. So, I'm sorry. So, two things. Last year when I was here, I had brought up about improvements to the police station that,
Folks who are talking, I really wish you'd stop talking for a few minutes. Thank you. Yes.
last year when I was here, I had asked about improvements to the police station. We have very professional officers, and we have, not an antiquated, but we do have an old police station, and I was hoping that maybe the township could look into maybe a new facility or upgrading the current facility for them. So just wondering, I remember Mr. White.
We're doing some work, are we not?
Yeah, if you want me to answer now, or?
Do you have another question?
Yeah.
Okay,
Another thing,
go
I
for
had called. My wife is handicapped 100%, and she gets around okay. But in any event, I had called the town and I had asked about handicap parking in front of the house, and I think it was Sergeant Jabaz called me back, and he said Monroe doesn't provide that because in most cases everybody has, or a lot of people have driveways, which I'm not disputing that fact that they do. But in any event, could maybe the council direct maybe the engineering department or the legal department to see the possibility of providing handicap parking for residents that need it in front of their homes? Even though they do have driveways, I think it would be very useful for those people.
I mean, have to look into that and certainly follow with the police department who normally have it. Mark, unless there's something you want to add, most people do have driveways.
No, I think that would require an ordinance if you're going to do a parking restriction on the road.
A lot of towns have them. It's usually where there's no parking, and they'll put a designated handicap spot in front of somebody's house. Typically, if people have parking on their property, you don't do that because they have parking available.
No, I understand that, but oftentimes they have several cars, so it would be easier for the handicapped person, especially if they have problems like seeing peripherally or turning around completely, but backing out.
But typically, the investigation is whether or not you have parking available or not.
If you do.
Okay, just a question. It was just a question. Maybe they could look into it.
We'll talk to the police department.
Thanks so much.
You're welcome.
Have a
You
great
have
day.
a comment about the police headquarters? Yes, please.
Oh, sorry, the police department building.
Police department.
I apologize. We are in the middle of the design of the expansion of the police station.
Right.
So it's something we'll be moving forward on for possibly some additional capital dollars later this summer. We're also looking at some grant dollars. In the meantime, the police recently went out with a larger bond for new tasers, new automatic license plate readers, new cameras inside the cars, new cameras inside that. So that was a priority that just moved right in front of that. But we are in the middle of the design and finalizing the funding for that as well.
The location where the old police department used to be, up the road here, I noticed they demolished and everything, but now I see debris being piled up there. I don't think it's from the building because the building was wood.
Correct.
Are people dumping there, or is it just a storage area for something else being done? And is the town going to do anything with that property?
So that's it's a great question, Council President, if I may.
Please answer it.
It's state-owned property. It's currently, I believe, 92 acres. We had a lease with them for the police station prior to building the new police station 40 years ago. We did knock the police station down. We did that through the mayor and council because the good news is, and we're hoping to announce this shortly, that property is all being put into DEP Green Acres. We're just waiting for the deeds to be filed for us to do that. In order for something to go into Green Acres, the entire property has to be cleared of buildings. It can't have buildings that need maintenance on it. And I believe some of what you're mentioning is from the, it's state-owned property now, but there was an old Camp Derrick in the back there, a Boy Scout camp. And so I think some of our DPW and historic folks are coordinating to take some of the more historic features because it's it's quite an old camp, but some of it is just some discarded debris that's all the way in the back towards the Legends, and so they're cleaning that up in anticipation of filing the deed for it to become Green Acres. It's not been a used camp for, I would imagine, decades. So
Okay, great, thank you.
Thank you. Ma'am, Dr. Prakash, do you mind waiting? This woman hasn't spoken before. Thank you so much, and then you will follow. Oh, that's good, because I'm freezing. They freeze me out. I'm sorry. Thank you. Have your 5 minutes, ma'am. I was teasing. Your name and address for our record, please.
Hi, my name is Gina Forsella.
Yes.
We own the Dance Stop Dance Education Center at 355 Buckaloo Avenue. We've been in Monroe Township since, I believe, 2007. I am here with a concern. Our neighbors to the right of us, 357 Buckaloo Avenue, I think that's Rockleen Manor. When we first opened our business, we didn't really have any issues with the neighbors or the people, but it has gotten progressively worse over the years, and especially the last 2 years, really bad, where the residents there are not taken care of. They wander all over, like they're walking on the road. You really have to be attentive. You know, they come out of nowhere. And not just are they wandering on the road, but they are coming onto our property. They actually wandered into the studio, scared the parents the other day, just walked in. They're asking for money, food. They're saying they're hungry. We're finding alcohol bottles on our, my husband in the morning will go to clean up and check everything out. There's alcohol bottles, there's cigarette butts all over the place, adult diapers in the garbage cans. These poor people, I don't know what's going on. My husband's been over there. It's not sanitary at all. It's somebody needs to check this place out, and it is a big concern. They're scaring the kids. They've approached the cars in my parking lot. And the kids don't want to go out of the building. To the parents, they're calling by the cell phone. The poor people need to be cared for. And we've called. We've had the police officers come to the building the other day. That's why I'm here. I don't know what the answer is, but it's getting scary.
Mr. Warrenberg, we can contact the state.
Sure. So this is, and you're probably aware of this, this is what's a residential, it's called a residential healthcare facility. For those of you who don't know, there are actually 3 of them licensed within the township. And we've been involved in this for quite many years. And we've dealt with the Bureau of Licensing within the Department of Community Affairs to try and get them to, pay attention, because I think everybody can agree that it's often not the residents' fault that they're not getting the appropriate service that they need from the state. That being said, just as a reminder, because we've said this to many folks, if somebody does something that's unlawful, we do have to report it, because we do share the number of police reports and types of police reports through our police department with the Bureau of Licensing and Regulation and Rooming Houses. That was what they're called down at DCA. And as many of you may know, we had an individual who's the neighbor on the other side come to this council probably in 2019 when one of the residents wandered into her house on the other side. Very nice woman, husband, police officer. And we intervened with the state and tried to do more meetings with them to get them. We put a fence up. But ultimately, a lot of this is due to the management of the individual facilities. And so when there are management changes, which they don't tell us, you can have a manager that's not doing a good job. We had a management situation at Rockleen Manor over on Spotswood Gravel Hill Road that was Meadowview. On Spotswood Gravel Hill Road next to Tidbury Creek, where the mayor and council and all of our council worked with our township attorney to try and get that place closed, seeking an injunction to close it because there had been so many police visits. We were ultimately successful, but that happened after a murder took place in that facility, as everybody knows. No, I'm just putting facts out there.
But that's why
the
I'm
truth
here.
Is the truth.
I don't. It's getting. I'm here because it's gotten really bad.
So I'll be happy to set up a meeting with you. We'll meet with Lieutenant Brewer. We'll continue to push back on that organization at the state and document as much as we can because historically, going back 2 years now, the majority of calls were at Meadowview. We were getting so many calls. So we continue to do an analysis and we'll see how many calls we're getting. But it's also really important, and I know I'm talking a lot here, but to report unlawful activities. We understand that it's not the fault of the individuals, but if they're trespassing on your property, coming into your facility, you need to report that.
Yeah, we've been trying to call over there, and my husband's gone over there a couple of times, and so we've been trying to. But this past time, I had to call the police because, like I said, they've also go across the street to the school. One of our clients said they had a father-daughter dance there, and they wandered over there, and they're, knocking on the cars, and again, asking for money. And, I don't know if they're getting fed or not. And I said to the police officer, well, how is it they can drink alcohol? I mean, they're on medication. And he said, oh, they can, just not on their property.
Right.
So now what are you saying? They can just wander down to whatever liquor store, buy some alcohol, and come back on my property where we have children, drink, and then I have fathers calling up and constantly saying, these guys, they don't want to let their kids out because they're smoking cigarettes on our stoop. So it's now it's
All
to the
right,
point.
so what I'm assuming is you take your contact information, a meeting will be set up, and we will see what
We'll
it
work
is
together.
that we can do, and hope certainly we can
Madam
do
Council
something.
President,
Yes,
do
Mr.
not
Mayor.
hesitate to call the police.
No, don't.
Never hesitate if there's an issue. Don't even,
Right.
not even think, just please. That's
Call.
what they're there for.
Okay, will do.
Really, we
Thank
will do
you.
our best.
All right.
Thank you.
So,
Kevin will get you.
Okay, thank you.
Dr. Prakash, yes, please.
I just text Greg because it's too cold in here.
I'm freezing to
I know,
death.
I just text
You
him.
do it on purpose, I know.
Prakashpura 33 Dana Drive.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. It's a sad day today. Sad day. We miss Betty Snyder. She was there last month, and when I heard about it at 1 o'clock, it was very hurting. It is loss of a family member, like in our Monroe Township. But looking back, she was there always for the community. 20 years in Board of Education, more than 10 years in council member, and planning board, so forth. What devotion she had to the community and serve the community in large. We are going to miss it. And she always, one thing she hated, hunger. She said, Prakash, it is so hurting. We are such a rich country and we have hunger here. And she was full, always for the food drive, she was in full support. And Thanksgiving, she made sure that at the senior center we had lunch for the seniors who are deprived, so her leadership and all, we are going to miss it. We are going to miss Betty sitting here, and I never thought that we'll lose her this month. So deep condolences. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti.
We thank you. Anyone else wish to address the council? Seeing and hearing none, I'm going to make a motion to close the public portion of the meeting. So move, somebody, please.
So moved.
Thank you. May I have a second on that?
Second.
Public portion's closed.
Public portion is now closed. I'm assuming everyone is in favor.
Aye.
No opposition. I'm going to take a motion for adjournment, please.
So moved.
Thank you. May I have a second?
Second.
Second, please.
Second.
Thank you.
Councilman
All in
DePiero.
favor? Anyone opposed? No. Meeting is adjourned.